So for those of you who haven't been to one of these before, there'll be an introduction, maybe about 10 minutes worth, where I'll introduce the topic. And then we'll move into breakout rooms for we'll do a meditation first, so the introduction, then about a 15, 20-minute meditation. Then we'll move to breakout rooms for about 30 minutes, and we'll all come back about half an hour before the meeting's going to end, and time for sharing and Q&A. That's how that will work. Okay, that's probably us. So I did a lot of, I was thinking about this, the meeting, and there's a few of you that know that why the April 25th meeting got canceled. It's probably just a few. I was dealing with some kidney issues. It all began with a kidney stone, but it didn't pass on its own, and I wound up having Lauren take me to the ER 6 times and having to go 3 separate surgeries all over a period of 3 weeks. Pretty intense. And a number of those times during that period, even with all the medication and the meditation training, the pain was pretty much unbearable. And my plan for today was going to be about dealing with pain, but last night I tossed out everything I'd planned because I didn't really feel like an expert in pain, because here I was, an experienced meditation teacher and a retired mind-body psychotherapist. And even with all my training, there was nothing I could do to make the pain tolerable when it was most intense. So instead of talking about dealing with pain, there's plenty about this on the website. You'll find that in week 5. And there are some things there that are helpful, but I learned that it hardly touches something when it's really intense physical pain. And that's probably true of intense emotional pain as well. It can be helpful, but it doesn't make it go away. So I wanted to share with you not about techniques of dealing with pain, but some of the after effects of what the experience was. And for me, it turned out to be a masterclass in compassion, in humility, and in gratitude. Compassion because there was nothing that made it bearable. I mean, there were moments that I could realize that at that very moment, thousands, probably millions of people were feeling at the precise time I was the same kind of intense pain. And at those times, I was reminded how deeply connected I was with all these other people, even though I wasn't in contact directly with them. And I could know that I wasn't alone. It was a master class in humility because not even as an experienced meditation teacher could I make it all go away. Even a meditation teacher isn't exempt from out of control emotional or physical pain. And it was a master class in gratitude because during the moments when the pain subsided, I could then realize and experience the love and the support I had all around me, from Lauren, from my family, from my colleagues, and also gratitude for the immense learning, as difficult as it was. This is what a friend of mine called an AFGO, AFGO, another effing growth opportunity. Something you don't want to do again necessarily, but lots of learning can come out of it. And so while this is going on, and during the worst of the pain, I had to recognize there was literally nothing I could do to make it go away, and I had to rely on the love and care of those around me. And I wasn't always easy to be around. Lauren could tell you about that. I was ever so grateful to have people around me who were in my corner. Lauren, my family, my friends, my colleagues, doctors and the nurses that were taking care of me when I was in the hospital, and you. So rather than this being a session about dealing with pain, I wanted to make it about gratitude. And there's a saying that, and this comes from David Steindl-Rast, the Benedictine monk. He says, we think we have to be happy to be grateful. And he says, here's his quote. He says, it's not happiness that makes us grateful. It's gratefulness that makes us happy. And I said just a moment ago, I was grateful to you, and I wanted to unpack that a little bit so you know what I meant by that. I feel a special gratitude for being invited into your lives through these meetings, through all the various interactions via email, and including the very personal practice notes sometimes that students share with us about their journey through the Palouse Mindfulness course. That's one of the reasons we don't keep those around in our archives when we get them, because some of them are so personal, the things that haven't been told to anyone else. So we don't keep those. We just keep the letter. Um, and it's similar to how I felt when I was doing clinical practice, about being trusted enough to be invited into the lives of my clients, who would sometimes share things, as sometimes we see in our practice sheets that you send in, things that they hadn't shared with anyone before, sometimes even the most person who's most close to them. And I always consider that to be a very sacred space. And I'm not just talking about my time with you in terms of sacred space, but also in these meetings, your time with each other during the breakouts, because you get to meet with people from other regions, sometimes other parts of the world, and you're here because you have some shared interest in what we're about here. I have a favorite video about gratitude. It's a 5-minute narration by David Steindl-Rast that's in week 8. I've shown it many times before, so I'm not going to take the time for it now. I'll give you a link to it. But I also put a very, very short video, it's only 30 seconds, about something that Kurt Vonnegut said about having enough. And I'll show you now.
There's a great story. If there's no reason for me to be on the show, this is one of my favorite stories, my favorite story of the world.
Okay. Wow.
It's attributed to Kurt Vonnegut and Joseph Heller. I doubt it was them, but let's attribute it to them. They're at a party in Long Island at one of those gorgeous, gorgeous houses that you always get invited to. It's appointed with the marble, and the paintings are gorgeous, and the chandeliers. And Joseph Heller says to Kurt Vonnegut, "Can you believe this place?" And Vonnegut says to him, "Yeah, but I got one thing this guy will never have." And Joseph Heller goes, "Yeah, what's that?" And he goes, "Enough."
That's it. I thought that was so instructive to just, sometimes we want so many things in our lives and worth having, but we sometimes ignore the things that we have that are already there. In my health crisis, I discovered that how amazing just feeling normal was. Just to not be racked in pain. It was just an amazing gift. Even, and this will sound kind of strange, lately, if I have some kind of minor pain, like a muscle ache or a stomach ache or something like that, it's like, that's like tolerable. I can distract myself with something else and not have that take the center of my attention. And that's pretty amazing too. But
And
more
be
than
grateful
discovering how
that it wasn't
grateful.
worse.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I'm going to mute folks. We'll have a chance to chat with each other and everybody together at the very end. And so that's what I wanted to share with you. And we're going to go into a meditation in a few minutes. And it'll be about this topic. And then after that, after about a 15-20 minute meditation, we'll go into small groups for 30 minutes, and we'll come back for Q&A. We'll be right around the top of the hour then. And so now if you just want to make yourself comfortable, you don't really need to change your position if you're comfortable enough the way you are. And just take a moment to settle in, not to really do anything about your current state of mind, but just noticing it. Noticing first how your body is. How your body's making contact with whatever you're sitting or lying on right now. How your feet may be making contact with the floor. How you're actually connected with the earth through the chair you're sitting on or the couch or whatever, through the building, through right down to the foundation and to the earth itself. You're connected to the entire earth and to the rest of us, and feeling the support that you have from what you're sitting on. The actual physical sensations of sitting right now. You can notice how your arms are resting at your side or in your lap. And beginning to be aware of your breath. Not with in mind to change it in any way, although bringing attention to breath sometimes brings that in, but just letting it be as it is. Feeling the in-breath come when it comes in, the actual sensations of breathing, how your belly is moving or your chest is moving, maybe the movement of air through your nostrils. Just finding a place where you can experience your breath as a sensation, as sensations of breathing. Not as control, making breath go in and breath out, but you're just noticing it the same way you might notice the waves at the seashore if you're just sitting on a beach blanket watching the waves. The wave comes in, spreads out over the sand, turns around, goes back out, and another wave comes in, spreads out. And you wouldn't wish for the waves to go faster or slower or be different. How they are is just perfectly fine. Same with your breath. You're breathing just fine now. You normally don't pay attention to breath, and it's kept you alive and mostly well for all of your life. So just noticing how it is right now. And noticing that your breath has a lot of parts to it. There's the in-breath, there's a pause between the in-breath and the out-breath, and the pause in the other direction. And there's nothing you need to do to make it better or different. It's perfectly fine just the way it is. You're riding your breath the same way you might ride a wave if you were on an inner tube or an air mattress. Just realizing that most of the time there's really nothing that we need to do to make things different than they are. Although we sometimes get in our own way, just noticing how it is right now, just following breath. And in the places where your mind wanders, thinking about this process or about something that's happened to you or is going to happen, letting that be part of the meditation. It's not really an interruption to the meditation, that's part of the meditation. And remembering we're paying attention to breath. So gently but firmly coming back to breath. Not in a critical sort of way, but just, oh yeah, we're paying attention to breath. Right. And when you do catch yourself wandering with a thought or musing about something, letting that be when you notice that, letting that be a cause for celebration, not for personal criticism. So yeah, breath, coming back to breath, gently but firmly. when you're ready, as you sit there, you might consider who or what in your life are you grateful for right now, at this point in your life. There may be several people that come to mind or several things in your life that come to mind, and just letting yourself notice them. And maybe one or two that come to the forefront. And about those people or those things in your life that you're grateful for, what makes you grateful for them? And as you're considering who in your life you're grateful for, or what in your life you're grateful for, and what makes you grateful to them or about them, how do you express that gratitude to them? How do you express it to yourself? What is it like to notice that now? And for the next 7 or 8 minutes, the meditation will be in silence. And you can continue with this theme if you like, or you can just let it be a breath meditation, or you can let it be whatever kind of meditation you would like it to be. And in 7 or 8 minutes, I'll bring us back together, not with a bell, but with my voice. In a moment, we'll come back to the whole group, and I'll be taking a breath or two together. And when you're ready, if your eyes have been closed, letting them come open and bringing into awareness the rest of the group. All right, well, in a few minutes, we're going to be breaking into groups of 4 or 5 people. All right. It looks like we have everybody back. Welcome back. I'm glad you stayed with us. Sometimes we lose people over the breakout room. So this is the time when we can share what was going on in the breakout rooms or anything you'd like, or time for Q&A. We'll have about 20 minutes to do that. I do have things set up to record right now. And so what you say is going to be recorded, the recording that I'm going to see. But if for some reason you'd rather not have, if you were to share something and you'd rather not have that shared, be in a recording that'll wind up being on the website, just let me know. You don't have to do it here. You can send me an email to let me know that you'd rather not be in that recording. It takes me a few days to do that. So if you let me know in the next day or so that you've shared something you don't want to have be on the website, then I'll make sure that doesn't get in the final recording. All right, so I see some hands are already up. Some
Okay,
virtual
so
hands.
we'll call on Hector. Hector, can you unmute?
Yes.
Okay,
Hi.
go ahead.
Hi,
Hi,
Hector.
Dave. Hi, Dave. How are you doing?
Good.
I'm happy you have recovered that situation. Hi, Lorraine and Kid. It's great to meet you and say hello to you. Well, it's interesting because I came today here with the intention of saying thank you. It was really what was going to say to you, all, to Paluz, to my teachers, love to them, and my partners in the groups, love to them, and well, I'm grateful because I have a situation very similar as you had 3 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, and I know what doctors do and nurses do. I have my 2 lungs transplanted, and it was what I was to share is that there were times of pain, really pain after the surgery and before the surgery with some studies on my body. But I think that I was thinking that I didn't took with my mind the suffering. It was the suffering that I just had. That's something I notice now because there was pain in my body sometimes, but it wasn't more than that. My mind didn't create more suffering. It would have been much worse.
Yeah. Well, I'm really glad to hear that that you're able to not let your mind take over things and make it worse, because they say there's 2 types of suffering. There's one that's the physical or psychological pain that's real in the sense it's primary, and there's the secondary suffering that's what we think about it, and is this going to end, or I can't stand this, or all the things that we say. And sometimes the physical suffering and emotional can be so intense that there isn't even much room for secondary suffering in terms of dialogue you have with yourself. You're just attending to the pain or to the discomfort or the emotional crisis that's happening. And And that's all you can do. That's the experience that I had. It was there were times when I was able to separate the two. I had the physical suffering and I could expand things a little bit and be more than just that physical suffering, but often not. And that was the humility part of it for me, was even with all my training, there were times when there was nothing I could do that would make it what seemed tolerable. Uh,
Mm.
uh, and it gave me, and that was also part of the compassion, was understanding that for some of us, there is nothing we can do that's going to make it better, and your only choice is to be with it, because your body
Yes.
or your heart is crying out for attention. That's what pain is about. It says, pay attention, do something. And when we don't know what to do, that makes it very difficult.
Hmm. Well, thank you, Dave. Always thank you to Palu's mindfulness. As I said to my teachers, my partners, best partners ever in the groups. And this meeting has been the most beautiful birthday present. Thank you.
Is it your birthday today?
It is today, yes.
Well, happy birthday. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Hector.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Hector.
Thanks, Hector.
Thank you, Dave.
Okay. Keith? Keith, go ahead and unmute.
Okay, I have unmuted. I
Hi,
am
Keith.
very grateful and have lots of gratitude for something that happened about 2 weeks ago.
Hmm.
I have ALS, and in late November, I put together a team of 8 researchers to submit a proposal for a prize called the ALS Longitude Prize. And they want people to research ALS and find new targets for potential treatments. So we submitted a proposal December 3rd, and we just found out 2 weeks ago that there were 100 teams that submitted proposals, and we were one of the 20 teams that got funded.
Wow, congratulations.
So that is a big challenge for our team to work on for the next 5 years. But it's with a huge amount of gratitude that these other researchers are going to be working with me to try to find some targets for treatment.
Very cool. And Alyssa's part of that group, is that right?
Yes. Yep. And then there's 3 U of I professors in computer engineering that have written a number of software programs using artificial intelligence to analyze medical data. And so this whole competition, there's about 10,000 ALS patients that have had their genomes sequenced and a bunch of other data gathered. And so this first year, we have to use artificial intelligence, machine learning, large language models to try to understand what is different between the ALS patients and the control groups.
That's very cool. Well, keep us posted.
I will, but it's with great gratitude. And so it's like I can sneak that in as a comment.
Yeah,
Thank you, Keith.
many of you probably know Keith is almost always here to help us with this small groups and stuff. He's also here right here in Moscow, Idaho. So he gets to be, we get to see him as part of our in-person meetings when we have them often the same week that we have these. So thanks, Keith. Thanks for sharing that with everybody.
Well, and it all started because that one time when I wasn't there, and everybody said little notes on the card that you sent
Yeah.
or dropped off. And so I called up Alyssa and I said, let's have coffee. And so she and I were talking about it, and she goes, Keith, we've got to submit a proposal. So we did, but I will stop talking now. Hey, I hope all of you have a great week, month, and quarter until I see you again.
Thanks, Keith.
Thank you, Keith. Congratulations.
Thank
That's
Yeah.
you.
great news.
It is.
All right. Fiorenza, you can unmute.
Hi, Fiorenza.
Hello. I didn't know you were here. I'm so sorry because I think that you are a marvelous person, really. You're marvelous.
Well,
Because Palooza is the best, for me is the best. There are many mindfulness course in the web, but this is the top for me.
Well, that's
Also-
really high praise, especially coming from somebody who has as much experience with the other courses. And thank you for your contribution for the Italian groups. 'Cause you sub sometimes for Nuna, don't you, for those groups?
Yes.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to say is that Corrado Pensa, that is my Buddhist teacher, used to say that the practice is a journey from humiliation to humility. Humiliation to humility.
Mm.
And illness is a form of humiliation, actually,
Uh-huh.
at least for our ego, no? So through illness, we can arrive to be more to humility.
Yeah.
And for this reason, you start being grateful.
Yeah. Well, I thank you so much for that. That's obviously that resonates with me because that's how I came to this meeting. But I love that progression from humiliation to humility. You know, same three letters going from one to the other. But that is so accurate, and that has everything to do with why this meeting became not about dealing with pain, because we have a lot on the website already about dealing with pain, but this was a big learning for me, was because you can get a little bit I don't know what the right word for it, maybe arrogance, not quite the right word, but thinking you got it all handled, you know, because all this meditation experience and experience as a therapist that you can handle almost anything. And I'll tell you, it was quite humbling to go through that process. And I don't want to go through it again, but the learning was profound, and it would not have happened without that experience. So thank you, Fiorenza. Great to see you again.
Thank you, Fiorenza. And Marta, you can unmute.
Hello.
Hi,
there.
Marta.
Hello. First of all, I'm really grateful for this meeting. I have to say that I did my Palus mindfulness course 5 years ago, and that's the first meeting I managed to join. But I'm a proof that it's never too late.
Yes, you have.
I do practice mindfulness apart from meetings because that was the beginning of my journey, but now it's been even 3 years. I've been mindfulness teacher in Poland.
Congratulations.
Actually, 2 years course. And also it was being in this course, teacher's course was really a great experience. But then I had a hard time, and now I'm coming back with, I don't know, hope and even more trust in practice.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're back with things and back with us. And Marta, where did you get your training? Your Teacher
In
training?
Poland, we have like it's through German. I mean, there's a
Uh-huh.
Polish institute, and they have like a license from Germany's
Yeah.
IMA, mindful. Yes, I guess Institute for Mindfulness Approach, and
That's
they have
great.
license from United States
Yeah, I know the
organization.
organization. It's a great organization. And you teach the classes in person or by Zoom?
Yes, in person. Like
Nice.
I've already had like 8 groups.
Well, very nice. It's
Yes.
very special nowadays to teach the class in person because there's so many things are online nowadays. Of course, that's the only way we can do things through Palouse. Um, and there's something very special about being able to do it in in-person class. They're all different. You know, online is different than in person is different than self-paced. All of that is true, but there's something very special about being able to do it in person. So your community is lucky to have you nearby to do that.
Yes, I'm really grateful for that you prepared, like that you created Palouse Mindfulness, that so many people can use it without paying, and that's really
Yeah.
wonderful. It's
Yeah, you're quite welcome. And this teacher training programs, as you know, are not cheap. It's
yeah,
for Poland, even
yeah.
it's quite
But
expensive.
sometimes I'm just for trying, just like seeing if it's something for you. It's
Yeah,
making this accessible for people is something really lovely. So thank you for that.
yeah. And for other people to know, usually when you do a teacher training class, the Palouse mindfulness class often doesn't count as credit for doing a MBSR class. They want to have you do a live class, which makes sense because you can be teaching it
Yes.
live, whether it's online or in person.
Yeah, but I mean, my teachers accepted that.
They did. Oh, that's great. Yeah,
Yes.
sometimes they make exceptions.
Mhm.
And my own personal view is that in terms of the personal uh, learning and meditation experience that one gets, it's just as deep doing the
I agree.
self-paced class if you do all the practices and everything. But it is different than doing a live class. So I understand that requirement that
Yes.
people want you to have that experience before coming into a training class. So but we're always grateful for times that exceptions are made so you can further your own training.
Yes, I agree. But it's really prepared the materials, not only the meditation, but all the materials that you provide. They're really helpful and make the whole process like because I do the live courses, and I wouldn't say there's just there's no group connection. That's the maybe disadvantage, the only
The
disadvantage
difference,
of it.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. It's
But
really it's
all the
almost
rest
like it.
is
Go ahead.
all the rest is so perfectly set up. It's really
Yeah, so they each have their own strengths. I mean, the an in-person class or a live class, you have a community that you stay with through the process, which even with our weekly Zoom sessions, unless you're part of a stable group that stays with it, you're not even going through it week one together, then week two together, week three together, and that's something that's very special in a live class. But one thing we can do with the self-paced course is we can have a lot of material there, way more material than you can possibly do in a live course. So videos and readings and so on. So and so we have that event, and they're just different. They're just different. So I'm glad you have experience with both.
Thank you, Marta.
thank you very much.
Thanks.
We don't have any more hands raised, Dave.
All right, and we're near the end. So if we can use this moment to close, but first we'll check to see if anybody has anything else that they wanted to share or ask. And I don't think we have too many people to see all on one screen. So now, of course, we see a few hands come up. So
Okay.
so here's what we'll do. We're gonna take David and maybe Sasha. We'll see how the timing works out. But we'll end right around 1:30, another 3 or 4 minutes. But I will keep the meeting room open. So if there are any other questions that want to come up after we formally close the meeting, we'll do that. But I want to honor the time for people who have things to do and places to go at the end of an hour and a half. But let's take David's question.
Okay. So David, you can unmute.
Thank you so much, and I won't take any time, but I just want to say that this is beautifully done, and I haven't experienced the whole course yet, but this experience in the small room that we were in was great, and it's wonderful that you offer this to people at no charge. I'm in the fundraising consulting business, so if you need some help in finding people that might give a scholarship for others to benefit
Uh-huh.
by this, I'm somebody that could probably help you, and I'd be happy to do that pro bono because you're giving freely, and I'd like to give freely. So there might be some way that I can help you put some funds in place to help get this somewhere where it doesn't exist now, or to help create some material that could be used in both the online and offline things. You say there's certain things that are and aren't available, and some of them may just be the medium. But anyway, I'll shut up and just let you know that I'd be glad to help. And you have my email address, I think. So if you're interested, let me know.
Yeah, David, thanks so much. We discovered only after we became a nonprofit that that organizations like Charity Navigator don't even rate you unless you do real tax returns at the end of the year, which we weren't doing. We're doing the postcard kind of thing, which we're allowed to do as a nonprofit. And we just got our rating bumped to 99%, which is pretty rare for nonprofits. And I would love to talk to you about what we might do with that. And I very much appreciate your willingness to help out. So you may hear from me.
Good.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
All right. And Dave, it is 12:30. Do you want to end
Yeah,
the
let's
meeting now?
we're
And
going to
then we'll
formally
take
close
it.
the meeting, but that doesn't mean that Sasha can't stay on, or Vital and Claudia, who have their hands up. If they're willing to stay, I will stay on for a little while after we formally close the meeting. But for those who have to leave, what I suggest you do is you put your screen on gallery. I'm going to do that here on my laptop, so I can see that way too. So you can see everybody, or at least whatever your screen will allow. And here's how we'll work the goodbyes. So as you sign off, you can take yourself off of mute and say goodbye, arrivederci, or whatever language you want to use. And so it'll be a little bit cacophonous for a few minutes, and when that dies down, the meeting will formally be over, but I'll stick around for a little while after. So it's been great meeting with you. Our next meeting, we haven't scheduled it yet. This one got delayed, of course, from April. So the next one will probably be in August or September, and there'll be an announcement about that when that time comes. But it's great being with you. For me, this is a high point of Palouse Mindfulness, because I get to actually see and interact with you in a live sense rather than just by email. So I hope you have a great rest of your day or evening, and hope to see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks so much.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye, all.
Bye-bye, Jennifer.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Take care.
David.
Take care.
Bye, everyone. Thanks very much. This is my first quarterly meeting, so I didn't know what to expect. Thanks very much. Bye, everyone.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, all.
Have a good day.
Okay, so Dave, you ready to?
Yeah, I am. So
Okay, so
Sasha had her hand up. I
Avital?
don't see her. She might have left.
No, I'm still.
No,
Oh, you're here. So
Avital?
Sasha, just
Sasha?
Lauren, just bring her
Okay.
in.
Just
Yeah, all
one
right,
sentence.
all right.
Not that I
Sasha?
doubt it. Just one sentence, not that I doubt it, but as always, I was so lucky to be in a wonderful break room, and it just still amazes me how positively Paulus impacted our lives and is continuing to have that impact. I knew that, I was aware of that, but every time that I'm in a breaking room and I hear the other people experience, it just amazes me the depth and volume of that
Yeah.
impact.
It does the
Thank
same for me, and it's great to see you again. You are, if we had a frequent flyer program, you would be in it. Uh, So, and thanks for sharing that. For me, it's maybe the high point of doing Palouse Mindfulness stuff because I get to really actually interact. And occasionally I can actually join a small group. I'm usually busy getting people back into the small groups when something goes wrong with the internet connection. But for me, this is a high point, and that's what I'm grateful for, is that we get to have this kind of interaction. So, thanks for sharing that.
thank you. Thank you everyone to just make this happen.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sasha. All right, Claudia?
Doctora.
Doctora? Ah, okay, sorry. Okay, you can unmute. Doctora, Claudia? Claudia? Can you unmute?
Yeah,
I
we still
believe
can't, we
she's
can't
trying
hear you. Yeah,
to.
so it's not, it sounds like the microphone's not working.
Yeah, I believe she's trying to connect the microphone.
Okay, should we wait and
Well,
take
let's,
Adi
Claudia,
for
let's
now?
give you a minute to try to, maybe we can sort that out, because anybody could hear is me. We can't hear you because you're muted somehow. So we'll go to the next person, but
To
stay with
Adi?
us and maybe get your
Okay.
microphone back.
Adi?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Thank you so much. This is my first time here in Palouse, and I'm new to Palouse World. I'm going to start my first week with the course and the training. I have been looking for something with mindfulness for a very long time, and I came across the Brown University's course, and Bob Stahl's video had some references about you. And I'm like, okay, let me see what this is. And I was going through all the other meetings that you have uploaded on YouTube. And this is one first courageous step towards the course that you have put up. So because the topic today is gratefulness, and I'm really grateful that you have created something like this for communities who are not able to access something which is expensive. I'm a coach. I do work with people reduce their stress, and mental fitness is what I work with. At this point, I'm not able to invest what I want to learn about the mindfulness courses. So I'm really grateful for what you give to the community, Dave. Thank you so much. So what would be one piece of advice for somebody who's beginner like me?
One piece of advice, do what you're doing. Because you've jumped in with both feet, coming to this meeting, your very, very first week. And I do have one piece of advice, and that would be through all of the process, it's something that's easy to forget, especially for overachievers like you. And I'm assuming that's true of you. You sound like you're in my category. I'm an overachiever as well. If I do something, I want to do it 100%, and I want to do everything, and I want to do it right. And sometimes that can get in the way of our own ability to be with ourselves. Because you want to meditate a certain way, and you get distracted more than you'd like to do, and you think, I'm not doing this right. And I think that maybe the most important piece of learning is the learning to be kinder to ourselves, especially us overachievers. So when things go a little bit off whack, or you're not making the kind of progress you think you should be making, just be gentle with yourself. It's okay. The fact that you're here indicates that I have no doubt of your sincerity in doing this, and so just be kind to yourself. And I'm pleased to hear that Bob Stahl has put something on his site about Palouse mindfulness, because I've never sure about when we first began with Palouse mindfulness. The folks at Brown University and UMass were a little skeptical of our course because it's not live. And we even had some people in the beginning who said, MBSR instructors said, well, it's a nice course and everything, but it's not MBSR. MBSR has to be this certain way. And I had always kind of assumed that Bob Stahl was one of those people. So the fact that he says something about us, that's really.
I don't think he directly said something, but there was a lot about Palouse in the chat. And that's how I was like wondering what it is. I don't blame Bob Stahl. It's more than $18,000 per course. So, you know,
Wow.
maybe he wants that, you know, and it's just a priority, Dave. I think, you know, I cannot invest it right now. I have 3 young daughters and I need to be able
Yeah.
to cater to them, but I also want to be able to give back by learning something. So I'm just grateful for this.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'll
thank
give
you.
you asked for one piece of advice. I'm going to give you 2. The second, I mean, the training that I got was just as expensive when I did my training. It was over $10,000 when I started doing my training, and it was very valuable. I learned a lot, but you don't have to wait until you get formal training in mindfulness to be able to share what you know. You share it, and probably the most effective way you can share it is honestly not becoming an MBSR instructor and getting paid for doing MBSR courses. It's by working mindfulness into what you already do. That's the most important way you can share mindfulness. It's the most genuine, it's the most real, and probably most effective. Sometimes when people say, I'm just so excited about this course, I'm going to be an MBSR instructor, and as soon as I get trained, I'm going to quit my job and say, wait, don't do that just yet. Because very few people, Bob Stahl is one of the few people who makes a living doing mindfulness, but it's like rock stars or NFL football players. It's very rare that somebody makes a good living doing mindfulness training as a career. But thousands and thousands of people bring mindfulness in a very effective way into what they're already doing. In some ways, more effectively than a mindfulness course that stands on its own, because now it's integrated into what you already do. So I wouldn't hang up your other shingle, whatever that is, and think about how you incorporate, and probably you already do, into what you already do. And what is it you do? What is your work?
So I help people speak better, but
Ah,
without stress and anxiety. So
ah,
that's the place where I want to bring mindfulness as a practice for myself, right? So
nice.
I've been a freelancer for 14 years, but you know, something that I want to learn and also implement at home, you know, as a mom.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
going crazy with young children. So
Yeah, well, 3. We had just 1, and that was enough in terms of busyness. So I can't imagine what it would be like with 3. My mom had 3 boys, and we were a handful for her. And so I would say just do what you're doing, do it in the context in which you're doing, and your field is one in which is perfect for mindfulness. And between you and I, that's probably a better, I don't want to say better or worse, but that you are already doing it. And just keep doing it and doing it in a way that feels natural and comfortable to you, and that's where you'll have the most effectiveness.
love that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's
Thank
good
you,
to see you.
Adi. All right, Kamal, you can unmute.
Hi, thank you. Thank you. A huge thank you to Dave and the rest of the team. I just have a quick question. These are always so powerful for me, I'm sure for many of us. I wonder if we could increase the frequency of these amazing meetings.
Well, we used to have them once a month, and we made Palouse Mindfulness a nonprofit about 3 years ago, partly so I could have a way out. And I don't mean to say that brashly, but I'm now 76 years old. And in my previous life, I had a computer software company where I didn't plan for succession. And I was ready to leave to go do something else. And it was just one unholy mess. It was horrible. So this time, what you're seeing is me slowly transitioning out of the role that I had been playing. So I'm not likely to increase it more than once a month and once every 3 or 4 months. But what it may happen is that some of our other hosts and some of the people that have been doing much of the hands-on work with Palouse Mindfulness may take over that role. So it's not just me who does this once a month. Maybe we can have somebody who does this kind of a meeting, a larger meeting than the small group meetings, so we have that kind of continuity. Um, so I'm not likely to make it more often, but it's possible that Palouse Mindfulness may be able to have these kinds of meetings at a greater frequency. It just wouldn't be me.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
Thanks,
you, Kamal. Thanks for the vote of confidence.
Yeah, thank you.
And Erica, are you there? You can
Yes.
unmute.
Hi everyone, I'm Erica. I'm from Brazil, and I am a psychology student. And we were actually doing a test last week about how mindful we were, and I found out I'm 0% mindful, but that's not the point.
You found out you were 0% mindful? Is that what you said?
Yes.
No, I would question that. How can you be 0% mindful?
No, the thing is, I did so bad on the test that I now consider myself 0% mindful, but that's not the point. The point is, we got into a discussion in a class about mindfulness, and I wanted to ask a question actually, because since Brazil, it's a country with such high inequality. We live in a country where people were really rich and really poor, and people were discussing how effective mindfulness practices would be. And I wanted to ask about the social impact of mindfulness. And I also wanted to ask how, because the thing they kept discussing about is if someone is going through hunger, for example, how can you tell them to be mindful? That's just something that has been bothering me for a bit. And I know that's not the topic of the conversation. I'm really sorry, but I just wanted to ask your thoughts about that.
Oh, don't be sorry about that. That is a great question. I mean, because mindfulness is so effective in so many ways. Some people can assume that it's good for everything in every circumstance, and it's just not. It's not a solution for hunger. It's not even a solution for severe pain. Severe pain usually means you need to do something about it, not just sit there with your eyes closed and try to work through it. And I sometimes have a problem with mindfulness being used in a way where it's not appropriate. Sometimes when I was doing clinical practice, psychotherapy, some of my clients would come to me and they were sent there by their managers at work and said because they were stressed out. And you know why they were stressed out? Because their managers were overworking them. and mindfulness was not a solution. The solution was for them to be more assertive with their bosses. Almost always that's how the sessions went from I'm here to learn mindfulness to discovering I need to speak up. I need to say this is too much. And it reminds me that there's a Sufi story about Nasruddin is always the main character in a Sufi story. He's either brilliant and enlightened, or he's just dumb as a rock. But there's always a lesson, and so Nasruddin has decided it's costing him a lot to keep his donkey fed and watered and everything. So he's going to try to cut down on food for his donkey and be cheaper. And he was telling his neighbor about all of this, how this is working, and how every week a little bit less food and a little bit less food, and it's working great. And his neighbor comes up a month or two into this and says, "Well, Nasruddin, how's it going?" He says, "Well, not so well. Because I had to end the experiment." He says, "Why'd you end the experiment?" "Because my donkey died." So there are certain places in which mindfulness is appropriate, but it's not a solution to hunger. If you're dealing with hunger, it may be a help to get you through a day or something, but it's not a solution. And for people to use it as a solution for everything, that's a problem in its own right. It's really a function of its own success, because it's so successful in so many areas. People just assume it's going to be good for everything, and it's just not. So I don't know if that helps to answer the question at all.
Totally. Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And how could they possibly say you're 0% mindful? I don't understand that.
The questions were so really like this. When you're drinking water, do you feel the water going through your mouth, into your throat and into your belly? And I was like, no. And it was like, whenever you're angry, do you stop to realize where that emotion came from? And it was like, no, obviously not. So, and also,
All right, here's how I would rate that. I would say in terms of truthfulness, 100%. Because I imagine people take that who are answering those questions would make an answer that was the right answer. Oh
Yeah.
yes, I always feel that. Oh yes, I'm always aware of my anger. And they know what the right answer is. And so in that sense, I think you deserve not just a better grade, but being aware of not being mindful is also mindfulness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't mean that as a just a throwaway phrase, but I mean
No.
that literally. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're practicing meditation and you discover that your mind goes off and goes off and goes off and goes off, and if you're noticing that, that's being mindful. The going off is not being unmindful. It's the noticing of where you are. So mindfulness isn't about being in a particular state. It's about being aware. And I would guess that if you were to compare how you are with somebody else who took that same, answer the same set of questions, and we were to look at your internal states, internal process, I'm willing to guess you might be more mindful than somebody who just answers yes to all those questions, because you're aware of what your own internal process is. That is being mindful.
Thank you so much. Thank
You're
you so
welcome,
much.
Erica.
Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. It's a reminder too that we're not mindful all the time.
Yeah, and if you have that idea, and many of us who got enamored by mindfulness, saying, now this is it, I'm going to be mindful 100% of the time, that's a recipe for severe disappointment. Because there is nobody who can do that, not even John Kabat-Zinn or not even the greatest meditation teacher. Nobody's mindful all the time. It's not possible. So thanks for sharing that. That was totally not off topic. That was perfect.
All right, Dave, I don't see any more hands up. There's still 35 people here, but no more hands.
Yeah, everybody's waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
And unless they're going to make something happen, it's not going to happen, and we'll close the meeting. So it's been a great pleasure being with you. And as I said, I'll let everybody know if you're on our mailing list when the next one's going to be, or you can just check the Zoom page. It'll show when the next meeting is going to be. We'll probably schedule it in the next 3 or 4 weeks. But it's been great being with you. As I said, this is a high point for me. I wish you have a great rest of the day or evening or whatever it is for you, and hope to see you next time.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you all.
And we'll say goodbye the same way we did before. So you can unmute yourself, say goodbye, and it'll be kind of loud for a little bit, and then we'll end.
Mindful
Thank you so
goodbye.
much. Thank you so much.
Have a great weekend. Happy Memorial Day.
Bye, everybody.
Everyone. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
See you
Thank you.
again.
Bye.
Right, he does this. It's just